As they walk together, Yuya noticed the hard black logs, or as we call them, BBCs. He tells his companions to be careful, but wonders when Akatsuki ever got so big. After seeing the real Akatsuki, the giant boar crushes Yuya's core and sends him launching towards the tree. He yells at his companions to stay back, and sees that it's a level 10 mithril boar. He tries reaching for a healing potion, but the boar continues assaulting him without a chance for him to heal his wounds. It charges one final time, but a voice from the dark says that it will help Yuya, and a flash of light kicks the boar away. The source of that strength was a white rabbit, and it tells the boar to disappear before unleashing a magical wave that disperses throughout the entire forest. Yuya notices how all the hard black trees were destroyed, and sees that the rabbit is a level 4 kick rabbit. It tells them to hurry up and show them their kicks, and Akatsuki wants to go first. With all the confidence in the world, it tries to show off its kick, but the rabbit says there's less hope there than you ever finding a girlfriend. Light thinks he can do better, and after showing off his kicks, the rabbit thinks there might be some potential there. Finally, Yuya goes on to demonstrate his kick, and the rabbit smiles, thinking there's some talent there. However, it goes on to show him what a proper kick looks like, and sends a ripple of wind that penetrates 4 hard black trees. He tells Yuya to start practicing this new move all night, and after hours of training, he finally takes down a tree with just the wind of his kick. Now that he's finally made some progress, the bunny jumps towards him and begins sparring. As days passed, they continued sparring, but Yuya wondered why they're doing all this training. The bunny reveals that he's chosen Yuya to be his successor. In this world, it's the divine's duty to train the apprentices and pass on their techniques. They are the beings who have mastered their fields and must protect the world from the vile, the negative aspects of this world. Those vials are the physical incarnates of malice that crystallizes, and will do anything to harm innocent lives. The bunny tells him that he could reject the title, but when the equilibrium shifts and battling the vial becomes inevitable, the only way to protect more lives would be by having more allies. And since the bunny can't see the limits of Yuya's talents, he has chosen him to become the next divine successor. Even after hearing that, Yuya says that he would rather not, but wants to protect all the people he's met in this world, so he wishes to continue training. The rabbit was impressed with his determination, and agreed to continue training him, but on the condition that he teaches him magic along the way. The barrier that manages to block the strongest creatures of this world from entering is a miracle of magic, so the bunny begs Yuya to train underneath him. Yuya tells him not to bow, and looks forward for them teaching each other everything they know. Deep in the forest, Yuya runs for his life from a level 3 king mithril boar. This is his chance for revenge, and he tells Yuya that the vial they're going to be fighting are much stronger than this creature. But even though it was much more powerful, Yuya cast his whip in succession with his spear to crush the boar down. After finally defeating the enemy, Knight and Akatsuki run to congratulate him, and Yuya sees all the SS rank items that were just dropped. But they're not the highest ranked items, and the rabbit says there are still triple S rank and X rank items. And beyond those, the vial items are all legend rank, so it isn't possible for him to defeat them alone. The system status appears, telling Yuya that he has reached a critical level where his species can now evolve. This is one of the rarest things for a human, the rabbit explains, but at least there's no change to his appearance. At school, the ball competition is about to begin, and the manager tells Yuya that she's prepared him a very special challenge. A giant man appears, and Yuya thinks that this dude doesn't look like a typical high school student. The assistant recruited this guy after he became the national tournament's champion, and people call him the sniper. After a single serve, he sends the ball flying past Yuya, and Yuya remembers feeling this energy before. But compared to the monsters from the other world, he thinks this guy is nothing. He swings at the ball hard enough to create a hole in the table, and asks to withdraw from the match. Yuya wonders when this show is going to get any budget, so Kaede runs in to finally spend this episode's budget. She begs him to play with her volleyballs. Sorry, I meant play volleyball. And the manager drags the cameraman to the volleyball arena. All the guys think it'll be an easy game now that he's on their team. But once the game began, the show lost 20% more budget, and they also lost an entire gymnasium. The enemy withdraws, and the matches continue being dominated by Yuya's teams. The manager gets angrier, because not only is the show's budget being spent by Kaede, but also their entire camera company's net worth. Yuya sulks in depression, but they hear a man screaming, and see Kaori leaving the match. She runs towards Yuya and begs him to take her teammate's spot in the match. The first responders take his body away, and he tells Yuya to watch out for the serve. The opponents think this is a sad outcome and tell Yuya that he's going to be in that position soon. Kaori serves the ball, but completely fucking misses. Yuya tells her that it'll be fine with her second serve, but the bitch is out to fucking kill someone. Yuya finally realizes which server he actually has to be careful of. The enemy team gets the chance to serve, and the ball nearly flies out of bound, but Yuya sends it back to the enemy court, and continues countering all of their attacks. He jumps high in the sky to keep the ball in the play, and Kaori thinks that she will finally be useful. How the fuck does it fly behind her? Yuya manages to secure their victory, and he stops Kaori from falling down. The manager secures all the photos she's needed. After the match, Yuya finds Kaori standing next to a pole, and she asks him if she could ride his pole. Sorry, I meant she asks him to come over because he saved her once again, so she wants to do something to thank him. Yuya tells her that she doesn't need to do anything, because just being with her makes him happy. She wonders what he just said, and asks him to close his eyes as she ran up to him. She got closer, and Yuya thought this was the nicest smell he ever felt. He asks her what she just did, but she tells him that it's a secret. Inside the forest at night, the rabbit narrowly holds off and casts magic to attack the vial in front of him. She wonders how a Usagi is able to use magic, but he reveals that he's still just learning under Yuya. After acquiring the new information, the vial revises the target for elimination, giving Yuya the threat level of great for being the master of a divine. The energy disperses from the vial's body and tells him that she will kill Yuya first. The bunny realizes her powers outclass his in every single way, so he needs to teach Yuya everything before his life is put in danger. Kaori was home alone with Yuya, and the poor man struggled to write, because the only ink he wanted to release was the one from his pen onto her face. A few days ago, their final exams were coming up, but Yuya was feeling overwhelmed because he had always struggled with math. Kaori realized she had a genius idea, so she asked him if she would be able to come over and study at his house. That's how she ended up here. But after studying for a while, she got up and asked Yuya to use the bathroom. As she walked into the other room, Yuya felt nervous because it was his first time ever having a girl over, but realized that she didn't know where the bathroom was. On the other side of the door, she had discovered the entrance to the other world, and Yuya ran to call out for her. She apologized for not knowing where the bathroom was, but felt like something was calling her to this room. After he heard those words, Yuya decided to reveal the truth about his door, saying it was connected to another world. He tried asking her to put her hand up to the door, but she was unable to cross through. After he saw the barrier's reaction, he'd finally clogged the plot hole of other strangers entering the world. But he still needed to clog Kaori's plot hole. She wondered what he meant by another world, so Yuya explained that it's a world where magic and super abilities exist, and went on to show her the water magic he'd learned. With these powers, he was able to save her all those times when he defeated the delinquents and rescued her from the burning building. Kaori finally realizes that it was strange how he could do all that, so Yuya extended his arm and asked her if she would like to see the other world. On the other side, Kaori saw the flying birds and all the unique plants that never grew on Earth. He went on to explain that Night is a black Fenrir, and Akatsuki is from the Maujo species, something similar to the pig family. As she got up, Kaori's status system appeared, and Yuya explained that it measured her various abilities. He noticed that all of her stats were 10 times higher than when he first started out. During his first day here, he was at the very bottom of the barrel, but after he leveled himself up, he lost weight, gained muscle, and transformed his entire appearance. It was as if he'd unlocked a cheat skill, because his past self was a person most people wouldn't accept. Kaori doesn't want to be reminded of him being an ugly, fat, disgusting. Kaori only wants to see more of this world. But Yuya says it would be too dangerous for them to explore today with all the monsters surrounding them in the forest. She begs him to promise that he will adventure with her some other time, so Yuya promised her that he would. He asked her if they could keep this a secret between them two, and Kaori promised that she would never let anyone else know. After all, this special secret between them would make it as if they had a special relationship. While he walked away, Kaori was glad that she was getting closer to Yuya. Meanwhile, the manager looks at the photos they took of Yuya from the other day, and she thinks he'll become a valuable individual that all the agencies seek. But once they remove all the obstacles from his way, she'll make sure that he's exclusively theirs. At the royal castle, the king is glad to see his daughter, but wants to know why the man in the forest didn't appear today. Owen apologizes because a lot came up, and the king wonders if this new girl had anything to do with the situation. Luna reveals that she was about to assassinate Lexia, which interrupted Yuya's schedule. The king heard those words, and wondered how she's alive after failing her mission. So on behalf of her client, the king grabbed his sword and promised to bring her death. He leaped towards her in an instant, but the king was unable to get any closer. He was shocked that she managed to stop his attack in an instant, and Luna reveals that she knew his legendary sword would cut through her regardless of her defenses, so she restrained his arms from moving. Luna screams at her father, and says that she hates him when he acts this way. It was her decision to make Luna her bodyguard, so she tells him to respect her decision. But the king has been sent to a different realm after hearing the words she hates him. He tells his daughter that he understands, and commands Luna to become his daughter's bodyguard. After she released him, the king realized he really couldn't stand his own daughter hating him, so he asked Owen to learn more about Luna's background. Owen revealed that she was from the Dark Guild, the infamous headhunter. After Yuya managed to catch her, he made Luna and Lexia spend the night at his house. The king wonders if his ears heard those words right, and didn't expect that his daughter would stay at another man's house, so he slashes his chair. While he might have saved Lexia, he will become his sword's next victim, and screams in agony when he wonders what they could have done that night. Inside the Dark Guild's tavern, their leader learns of Luna's failure to assassinate Lexia, and hears about the news of the headhunter being taken hostage into the castle. When he heard those words, the man thought it was time for Lexia and the king to disappear. It's only a matter of time before he's king, the man explains, so he's going to reveal his trump card, a magic sealing barrier. With this item, they will infiltrate the castle, and it will prevent any magicians from defending the king. And if things took a turn for the worse, they'll just blame it all on Yuya. A week later, Aosei Academy went on a 3-day break, so Yuya was planning on using this break to meet with the king. With his void bow, he eliminated a rare sheep, and among the rare drops, he saw the paradise bed. After traveling for hours, Yuya finally reached his first city in this world, and saw all the beast women with tails. It finally felt real to him that he was in another world, but he needed to make some money first. Inside the Pawn Star's shop, the merchant saw his appearance and thought he was an upper-class noble, but Yuya tried to say he's just a regular person. The man asked him what he was trying to trade, and was shocked when he saw Yuya's item box. From inside of it, Yuya took out a bunch of spices, but the man was surprised to see such exquisite glasses on the table. The trader has dealt with a lot of different products over the years, but this is the first time he's seen such high-quality products, so he offers to buy it for 100 gold coins. Yuya wonders how much the coins are worth, and the merchant realizes he just missed out on the greatest crypto scam opportunity of his life. He reveals that in this country, 5 of these coins would allow a family of 4 to live a wealthy life for a year. After leaving, he gives him a guild card so he can be identified in this country, and looks forward to doing business with him again in the future. At night, Yuya continued traveling towards the royal capital, and by the morning, he had finally made it there. Akatsuki tried pointing him towards the castle, and when he made it there, Owen walked him around, saying they will be entering the audience room. Hearing those words, Yuya was shocked that he will be meeting the king because he hadn't prepared any clothes. But Owen comforts him by saying it's just an unofficial audience. They enter the room together, and Yuya sees Lexia and Luna standing next to each other. He bows to the king, but the king tells him to raise his head, and asks him if he was the man who saved Lexia. But he doesn't care if he actually saved her, and screams that he will eliminate the bastard who seduced his daughter. Owen tries calming him down, but the king promises to also execute Owen for his insubordination. After they continue screaming at each other, the king introduces himself as Arnold, so Yuya tries introducing himself back. But the king is displeased with how he didn't bring a present for Lexia. Yuya apologizes because it didn't cross his mind, but thinks he has the perfect gift for Lexia, and takes out the paradise bed from the void box. Lexia loves how bold he is, and the king approaches him. He asks if he's going to bring his daughter to a world of paradise and plot development. For his insolence of trying to seduce his daughter in front of him, the king was ready to execute him. But Owen tried stopping him, saying Yuya probably didn't know the customs of their country. In this nation, giving a bed to a woman is the equivalent of a marriage proposal, and Lexia is excited to feel Yuya's Excalibur penetrating her defenses. The king promises that Yuya will become this sword's rust, and as he rushes to slash towards him, a group of assassins circulate around them. The king commands the guards to fire, but the assassin activates the magic sealing barrier to nullify their attacks. They begin trying to attack the royal family, but Owen and Lexia hold a few of them off. Yuya rushes with Akatsuki and Knight to fight off the enemy, neutralizing all of them with a few kicks. The assassin leader tries slashing towards Yuya, but he delivers a gut punch to knock him down. Lexia runs to hug him and wants to know what else those hands can do. Luna reminds him that he's getting awfully bold, and sees the king pointing his sword towards him. After they'd restrained all the assassins, Owen discovers a crest among them. It was the Ryger crest, the one Lexia's brother carries. Because of the circumstance, Owen begs Yuya to lend them his support, because their entire country is in danger. While the king was sitting inside his room, Yuya wondered what he should do about Owen's request of helping their kingdom. He decided to walk up to the door, but before he could open it, Lexia came out in front of him and asked him if she could show him around the capital. The budget for this show has probably already ran out after Kaede's scenes, so Luna talks to them without a single animation happening. My man's arm and mouth were literally frozen in time and space, and Luna went on to say that she'll be accompanying them, because Lexia is planning on making moves onto Yuya. However, Lexia says that she just wants to show Yuya around town, so Luna says that she can be the one showing him around instead. Their argument escalates to who's going to show Yuya their plot first. But Owen comes up with a genius idea, saying he'll show him his Excalibur because it's more interesting than their flat surfboard bodies. Both of them reject his plan. Inside the town, Owen watches over them from a distance. Lexia begs Yuya to take her to the mall, but Luna cares more about seeing the blacksmith's long swords. Yuya wonders what he should do, so they begin having a plot contest with his arms. All the men in town get jealous of him, but Yuya doesn't feel any of their gazes contain bloodlust, because the only blood he senses is the one going to his As they walked around town, Yuya saw the Adventurers Guild emblem, and Luna asked him if he would be interested in joining one. He revealed that on his way here, he managed to register with a Merchant's Guild, so he might as well register with an Adventurers Guild since he's been hunting so many monsters. Luna decided to make registering him their priority, because with his license, he will be able to make way more money from trading monster materials. Luna walks away to register with Yuya, and Lexia asks her why she's going to register when she's her bodyguard. However, Luna reveals that in her free time, she wants to be making extra money, so Lexia should just register with them if she's so intent on being alone with Yuya. She runs after them, and poor Owen wishes he didn't have to rely on blue pills to get up. Inside the guild, Lexia draws everyone's attention by screaming that she won't let them be alone together, but Luna says she's just trying to protect Yuya. The receptionist hands them the guild registration papers, and Yuya wonders if he's going to have to register both of his pets. But the receptionist says that he doesn't need to. As he filled out the paper, he saw the question asking about his magic types, and Yuya thought that saying he's mastered all categories would be conflicting with their common knowledge. So he decided to list wind, fire, and water as the only magic types he's mastered. One of the questions asked about his magic energy capacity, and the receptionist explained that they will be using the magic ball to measure it. Yuya wonders if he could just write down the number from his status window, but the receptionist revealed that most adventurers hide their true powers, so they must use the crystal. Luna measures her capacity, and the crystal ball glows yellow, but she thinks that she's never been skilled in magic anyway. Yuya wonders what level yellow indicates, and puts his hand on the sphere. In an instant, the sphere lights up and breaks in front of everyone. The receptionist thinks it's amazing how much magical powers he has, and Luna wonders if his seed is as potent as his magic. The receptionist asks Luna if she uses any other types of weapons, but Luna says that threads are the only weapons she's managed to control. When the receptionist takes a look at Yuya's report, she notices that he can use 3 different types of magic, and he wonders if it's strange, so she reveals that using 3 types of magic would put him in the realm of legendary heroes. The receptionist asks if he only uses spears and swords, so Yuya reveals that he does, and she goes on to process their papers. From the magical device, their 2 black guild cards appear, and the receptionist tells them that they will be starting all the way at F rank. There will be no minimum quota regarding their leveling, but she asks them not to over-collect herbs when on gathering quests, because the plants would stop growing in the area. As they considered their first quest, the receptionist introduces herself. Lexia wonders if there were any quests that she could take on her first adventure, but Luna tells her to shut the fuck up and quit being a pick-me. Yuya laughed like an awkward beta, and from behind, isekai Ms. Sawada appeared and called him a handsome man. She asked him if he would like to come and do something with her since she's also an adventurer, and wishes she could go on a horse ride with his long hard sword. The girls struggle to compete with her plot, and she introduces herself as Glina and walks off. Luna and Lexia get angry that their cutting boards couldn't distract Yuya as much as Glina did, and Owen thinks that if Glina rubbed up on him like that, she would have fixed the sword he hasn't been able to unsheath after turning 40. In the middle of the field, Yuya began collecting healing herbs to complete their quest, and used his overpowered skills to harvest it right. Lexia was enjoying gathering all her herbs, so she challenged Luna to a competition. Whoever gathered the most herbs would develop plot with Yuya, so they ran off the scene, because the show ran out of budget after spending all of it on Glena's plot. As the girls gathered herbs, Yuya wondered where Owen disappeared off to, and saw that he had dropped all of his herbs. He came running back, saying that they have found the prince's location, while the show kept just zooming in on grass. I guess the artists really spent too much time investing in Glena's assets. They began riding the horses away, and Yuya remembered how Owen warned him about the prince. Deep in the woods, they arrived at an isolated cabin, and as soon as they tried entering the door, a knife was thrown directly at one of the guards. As soon as he saw that, Yuya ran in, seeing the prince was holding a knife up to one of the soldiers. Immediately, Yuya called Knight to bite his arm off, freeing the soldier from his grasp. He saw the mask the man was wearing, and tried letting the rest of the soldiers run. The reinforcements cornered him, but he began crazily running around and destroying all the furniture in his house, swearing that he would become the second person in all of anime to get isekai'd by a knife. This was his master plan, because Truck-kun would finally have a contender, and that it would start a whole new trend of isekai victims. However, Yuya teleported and destroyed all of his dreams. The man began trying to slash towards him, but Yuya dodged every single one of his strikes, and as Knight distracted him, Yuya flanked him from behind, knocking the prince down with Akatsuki's help. The guards finally surrounded him, and Owen congratulated Akatsuki for tripping him up earlier. As they were ready to take the prince away, a whirlwind exploded the wall, and a girl appeared inside. After analyzing the situation, she said that the prince had failed, and that he was no longer needed. His plan was insufficient, and she went on to say that he was unlucky. The prince wondered why she had given up on her plan of putting him in the throne so she could attain a high position. But she revealed that her real plan was starting as many wars as possible. This entire time, she'd been tricking him, and will now dispose of him. As she swung down, Owen tried stabbing her, but an arrow parried her attack. Yuya noticed that the trajectory of the arrow must have come from the outside. But the girl turned and began casting a rain of arrows down onto them. She claimed that she was alone, because this attack was all her. As Owen rushed forward, she knew all of his moves, saying she has the ability to predict all of their attacks. Yuya wondered why she's doing this, so the girl revealed that she wants to annihilate all of humanity, and launched all her arrows towards Yuya. In the last moment, Yuya summoned an energy barrier that rendered the arrows useless. Owen said thank you to Yuya, but after hearing Yuya's name, she asked him if he was Yuya. Yuya told her that he was Yuya, and the girl thought she was extremely lucky. But unfortunately, she will have to use the power of Vile against him. But because she'd burnt most of her stamina, there was no other choice, so she decided to retreat for now. Owen wouldn't let her go, but she shot an arrow towards his foot and disappeared. As all the soldiers treated one another, Yuya wondered who this girl was, because he needs her in his harem. At sunset, Kaori ringed Yuya's doorbell, but no one was home, so she walked off. While they were waiting inside the castle, Yuya wondered who that Vile could have been, but Owen came inside to invite Yuya to Riger's hearing. As they walked together, Lexia wondered what was going to happen to her brother. Inside the main room, Riger was struggling to fight off the guards, but they forcefully took his mask off, and revealed how scarred his body had become. Even his own father looked away from him, but Riger told Lexia to stop pitying him with that gaze. After all, she was the one who forced him to become this way, because the years of pain from her magic outburst consumed him until he began ripping off his own skin. And through all this time, his own father simply casted him away and isolated him inside a cell. When even his own family treated him like a criminal, the only thing he thought about was annihilating them. Everyone in the entire world began treating him like a disgusting outcast, and wondered if any of them knew how that felt. His words reminded Yuya of the awful past he used to live through, and Riger begged them to execute him already. However, Yuya tried asking if he could use a special item, and pulled out a potion from his item box. After getting closer to Riger, he adjusted his face and poured his liquid all over it.
I beg your pardon?
His wounds instantly healed, and as he ran to inspect his face, he saw how all of his burns had completely healed. Yuya tried explaining that this is the medicine he created from his cure-all herb, and the entire room was tired of how overpowered he's become. Yuya realized that the description of the herb said it was a legendary undetectable flower, and the king asked him why he would sacrifice such a valuable item on his child. So Yuya revealed that he's growing hundreds of them in his backyard to crash this economy. Even after all of his injuries had been healed, Riger knew his death sentence was inevitable. However, Lexia told her father that she forgives her brother for attempting to assassinate her. After all, she was the victim, so it's as simple as saying she forgives him, just like how she forgave Luna. It was also their fault for neglecting the Dark Guild until now, Lexia said. But the king said that he was also attacked, so Lexia told him to forgive his son already. He tried weaseling out of it, but she tells him that he needs to forgive his son's sins so they can get back to being a normal family, and pressures him until he accepts. Once his sentencing was over, Ryger thanked Yuya, and the king wondered what Yuya's reward might be. Lexia wanted to be the reward, and asked him to marry her, but Luna also wanted to become his wife, saying that marrying an ugly like Lexia is a curse instead of a reward. Ryger thought he came up with a good idea for rewarding Yuya, so the king decided to offer all of Ryger's mansions and land unto Yuya with the title Knight Baron. As he sat and wondered how unoriginal this story was, he decided to fall asleep to save this show some budget. In his dreams, the only thing he kept seeing was his battle against the Vile, but he was instantly crushed under the weight of her arrows. Jumping from the bed, he realized how scary his battle with her was going to be. After a long day at school, the plot teacher bid everyone farewell, and the guys asked him if he wanted to hang out with them after school. But Yuya started running home. On his way, Kaori asked him if she could come over, but Yuya said he was tired of seeing her ugly flatboard-looking ass.
You're a victim!
As he ran home, he remembered Ryger explaining how he met the girl, and how she possessed powers beyond what he could ever imagine. He remembered her telling him that she was the Vile, so as soon as he got home, he began training right away, but wasn't sure if he was ready to fight a Vile. He wondered if his master would have known how to handle the fight, but Yuya decided to train anyway in the meantime. Just then, Night began growling in the air, and Yuya felt a giant magical blow coming his way. He realized that the Vile had already arrived, and asked her to explain why she was so intent on eliminating him. The only thing she desired was revenge, so Yuya promised to defeat her to find out what she meant. After letting those words out, a rain of arrows began pouring down on him, and he was aerially cornered into the path of her bow. Meanwhile, Kaori rung Yuya's doorbell. But after no one answered, she decided to enter because it's not like she wanted to see him naked in his bath or anything like that. Baka. As she walked to the other world, she noticed his gate was open into the forest, and remembered him warning her about the dangerous monsters living within. In the distance, she heard massive explosions coming, and the Vile was firing all of her explosive arrows towards Yuya. He wondered what he did to deserve her revenge, but she continued raining her arrows towards him instead. Night attempted to flank her with Yuya, but she dodged both of their attacks and continued raining her arrows towards them. Yuya's armor transformed into a white color, and he kept closing his distance until he kicked her up, and from above, Night smashed her into the ground. She thought they were amazing, so she began begging her master for his strength, and let out an arrow that exploded for hundreds of meters. Yuya was back to running away, but Kaori screamed out his name, and white-haired Kaori noticed her in the distance, but decided to ignore her. Her arrows nearly destroyed Kaori, but curved towards Yuya to catch him off guard. The backlash from the last attack left him with his back facing the Vile, and she launched her comet attack towards him. In that instant, Usagi appeared to deflect the attack away, and apologized for being late. He was busy doing some digging for carrots because he's a bunny, and revealed that her name is Yuri. She was the successor of the Divine Archer, and Yuri promised that she would avenge her master by eliminating everyone in this world. Even though he was a divine who protected humanity for years, humanity were the ones who betrayed and eliminated him. She wasn't the same divine as he was, so she doesn't care about the well-being of humans, and began launching her arrows towards them. Yuya attempted to dodge her attacks, and the bunny encouraged him to use his legs. But Yuya missed his attack and was nearly blown away by her arrows. Her predictive powers allowed her to shoot ahead of their positions, and she launched a tornado towards Yuya. However, he saw an opening from Usagi's attack, and destroyed her arrows head-on. As she was distracted, Night bit her from the back, and Usagi kicked her straight into the ground. Her back had been crushed, but she promised that this will not be her end. Not until she avenged her master and destroyed every single human. The power of the Vile was finally released, and her evil god magic began overtaking her body, and she launched an onslaught of attacks towards Usagi. As Yuya wondered how he could possibly handle her attacks, Akatsuki came out from the invisible coat, and ran towards the center of the battle. Once he arrived, he casted his ultimate ability, and a blue orb encapsulated the entire field. Once the Vile was in it, all of her power had been stripped away, and Usagi realized that Akatsuki wasn't just an ordinary pig. With no powers left, Yuya teleported behind her and knocked her unconscious, but caught her before she fell on her head. Once the battle was over, Usagi revealed that there were others who could oppose vials in this world, and Akatsuki was one of those. As for what he's going to do with her, he left it in Yuya's hands since Akatsuki's power had removed all of her energy, and began jumping away. As Yuri began waking up, Yuya wondered what kind of person the divine archer was, and she told him that he was a kind man, and overflowed with love beyond measure until she fell asleep on him again. Kaori finally appeared, but a giant pig was ready to end her, so he eliminated it in an instant. As he walked past her, he asked her if she was surprised to see his other life. He was an overpowered man with a cheat skill who leveled himself up, because in his previous life, he wasn't a person everyone wanted. However, she told him it's not true, because he hasn't changed, and he's saved her once again like the first time they met. He thanked her, and in the following weeks, Kaori met Yuya's otherworldly harem, and bathed with them because their plots were more interesting than the real plot of this anime. In the other world, his brother and sister had become his stalkers, and Ms. Sawada had been finally fired after trying to seduce Yuya. Inside his new life, Yuya looked at ugly-ass Kaori, and was glad he had an entire harem to replace her. Till next time, my